Hello guys, welcome back to Empower State. I am so excited that you are here. I feel like I've not recorded a podcast in a little while because I've been out gallivanting on my holidays, but I'm here now. So thank you so much for listening. If you are listening to the podcast, please remember to leave me a review. It will help me hugely to grow this podcast audience. And if you are watching on YouTube, welcome, thank you. Come and like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bells, and that will also help me greatly. So thank you so much. So today, what we're going to talk about is a superpower that you have got instant access to if you choose to use it. And it is the one thing that all successful people, and when I say success, I mean whatever success looks like to you, whether it be in health, relationships, financially, in your career, whatever it is, the people who are successful all have this ability in common, and it is the ability to repeat the same boring thing over and over again in order to become a master at it. Something that I always say, you will have heard me say this on loads of different podcast episodes, is in order to become really good at something, you first have to be a little bit shit at something. It's a part of the process. It's how we actually get to become really good at something. And one thing that holds a lot of people back is they look at these people who are experiencing something that they desire, again, whether that's health, relationships, money, career, whatever it is, and they think, oh, well, that person's just better than I am. And that is just not the case. If you actually take a second to think of somebody who has something that you desire, it might be somebody that you follow on Instagram, it might be one of your friends, it might be a celebrity. Look at that person and ask yourself, is that person really more special than I am? Is there anything about that person that is in some way superhuman, that has got something that I couldn't develop? Because the answer is usually no. There are people who have got natural abilities and natural talents, of course. I'm probably never going to sing like Beyonce, but also something that really contributes to people's success is that they are willing to repeat that same boring action over and over again until it becomes natural and it looks like a natural talent. So I want you to just think of that person and think, how have they got to that place in their life, whichever area of life it is that you're looking at? How have they created that experience in their life? Because I can guarantee you that that person will have put in the reps in one area in order to become a real master of it. It's not a coincidence that there is only a small number of people who experience success and a really big number of people who don't experience that success. It's because you have to be able to sit in that discomfort. And not many people are willing to do that. Most people want to stay in their nice, safe, little cozy comfort zone. And their mind will push them to stay in that comfort zone, and they never override that. They'll just keep running on their old programming. And they won't experience those desires because they never ever stretch themselves. They don't go outside of that little arena that they've given themselves to play in. Everybody wants to feel like they are good at something. So we put ourselves as like the big fish in the small pond because it feels good. It feels good for our ego. It feels good for our mind. It feels safe for our body. We like being at the top of our pool of fish. We want to be the biggest fish. But if you are the biggest fish in the pond, that's it. There's no more growth. You can't get any bigger than that. So yeah, it feels nice to, feel like you are maybe better at something than other people in that pond, but you don't have any room for expansion. If you want to keep growing and to experience something bigger, you've got to jump out of the pond and into the sea, and then you're the small fish. You are surrounded by much bigger fish, and that environment allows you to grow bigger and to experience more and to become more expansive. Mastery has got nothing to do with any natural ability, nothing whatsoever. Mastery is the sustained repetition and failure, and using that failure as feedback. It's that pattern of keeping going, keeping doing the reps, learning from the mistakes, applying what you've learned, repeating it, and refining it each time to get better and better at something. And lots of people who are seen as the greats in history, the greats in sports, the greats in art, the greats in music, in writing, all of these different areas, they have become great through repetition, through persistence of going over the same thing over and over again and being uncomfortable and putting themselves out there and risking people laughing at them and maybe not seeing the vision. They have put themselves out there and they have repeatedly taken the same action until it's become so natural that they just look like it's God-given. I'll use air quotes for the God. But that's what it looks like. On the surface, it looks like they just rolled out of bed and they were able to do that. And that's not the case at all. If you think about people like Kobe Bryant practiced the same shot over and over and over again every single time that he was going to play a basketball match. Is it a match? I don't know. All of these people that we think of as being great at whatever it is that they do have got there through repetition, through practicing it over and over again, through failing and through learning from that failure. One of Michael Jordan's quotes is, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career, and that is why I succeed, because every time he missed a shot, he refined his practice and got better and better and better." Bruce Lee said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Because mastery is repetition. JK Rowling got rejected by 12 different publishers before she then went on to create Harry Potter, which is like the most famous book of all time, maybe. Tony Robbins is one of the best speakers in the world because every time he does one of his seminars, he goes over it and he rewatches it and he perfects it and gets better each time. That is literally what you see me do right now. I am refining my skill of podcasting, of becoming a YouTuber, of improving my communication. I was listening to one of my old podcasts this morning, and the difference between the way that I do podcasting now and the way that I did it then is so dramatic. I was so chaotic. My message was all over the place. It was going here, there and everywhere. There were so many interruptions. And I'm very thankful that that got me to this place. But now, to go to the next step in this career, I need to be a better communicator. So that's what I'm working on right now. And I tell you now, I have fucked up this very YouTube channel about 50 times in the last hour that I've been recording it. So when you look at somebody and you think, oh, they're really good at that thing, they're just naturally really good, whether it's art, singing, podcasting, whatever it is, it's because they have gone through this process and they've been willing to go through this process. Repetition builds neural efficiency, and what that means is if you were to walk into the woods and you wanted to go down a new path that wasn't there yet, you would have to create it. You would have to push all of the branches aside, you would have to get scratched, you'd have to get stuck in the mud in order to push your way through something that wasn't there yet, the path that wasn't there yet. But if you were to do that again the day after, and again the day after that, and the day after that, and you continued to go down that same route that you'd chosen, soon you would have cleared a path and it would be easy to walk down. It would feel natural and normal to walk in that direction. But first you have to clear the path. You've got to do the uncomfortable part, which is repeatedly making a new neural pathway in your brain. And you have done this so many times in your life. You've literally done this tens of thousands of times with everything that you have learned to do so far. And you might be sitting there thinking, I don't have any skills, I don't have any talents, I don't really know how to do anything. But you do. The language that you speak, you have learned that through repetition. Nobody that I know has sat down and studied the English language in order to be able to speak it. They know the language because they've been immersed in it, and they have repeatedly tried to speak it as toddlers until right now as adults, and now they can very efficiently speak the language. When you learn to ride a bike, you will have fallen off, you will have grazed your knees, You will have been scared at some point. You will have felt nervous about doing it. But eventually it became so natural that you could probably take your hands off the handlebars. Driving, when you learnt to drive, you had to think about all the different things that you were doing and be really consciously aware of them and make loads of mistakes and nearly crash the car on several occasions. And now you're able to drive to wherever you're going without even thinking about it. You just do it automatically because you've built the neural pathway, and you've done that through repetition. You have become a master of driving, of walking, of speaking through repetition. And this same process applies to other things that are a little bit more broad, like raising a family or running a business. You have to do things when you're not ready in order to learn on the job. There is no qualification that is going to prepare you to become a mum or to become a business owner. The things that you have to build the pathway for, that you have to fail at repeatedly and learn from the feedback in order to get good at doing that thing. And this is something else that makes people feel uncomfortable, is the fact that you are going to fail. Without a doubt, whatever you are becoming a master at, you are going to become a failure at first. Because failure is how we learn. If you don't fail, you can't learn. Every time that you get something wrong, you have created feedback. And if you apply that feedback the next time, you're going to improve, you're going to make progress. And eventually there will be no feedback because you're doing a really good job of it. So failure isn't something that you should be embarrassed about, or you should put off, or you should try and avoid. Failure is something that you should do enthusiastically. You want to be failing all the time and failing as quickly as possible. Go into that practice of the skill knowing that you're going to be failing and getting excited about what feedback you're going to get in order to get better at it. Imagine when you were a toddler and you took your first step and you were arms outstretched walking towards one of your parents and wobbling all over the place and you fell over. Imagine if you'd have thought, oh, I'm not very good at that. I'm just going to pack that in now because I clearly am not a good walker. You wouldn't be able to walk now. You would not have trained the muscles in your body to be able to walk and hold you upright. You learn how to walk through repetition, just like you learn everything else that you do automatically and naturally with no effort today. There's a version of you in 2030, in 2026, in 2040, who is relying on you to fail enthusiastically, to repeat something in order to get you to that place that they are in, that desired reality. If you don't, you will be exactly where you are right now in 1 month, in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years. You will always still be in that same comfort zone. You have to understand that you are going to fail and that you are looking forward to failing, because that is going to give you the feedback that you need to become a master of something through repetition. And I also want to bring this back to the law of assumption, because this is so relevant to the law of assumption. The very nature of the law of assumption is that you are constantly creating through your assumptions. That's it. That's manifestation. You're creating through your, you might want to call it, dominant thoughts. That is the key to manifestation. If I could only tell you one thing about manifestation, it is to repeatedly think a new thought. That's it. Because when you repeatedly think a new thought, one that aligns with the identity of the version of you with everything that you desire, you wire in that identity. It becomes your new identity. The purpose of your 3D reality is simply to prove you right, to prove your identity and your beliefs right. So if you're a person who wants more money, but your dominant thought around money is, oh, I'm always skint, it's going to say, yeah, there you go, here's the evidence. And in exactly the same way, if you desire more money, so you start to think the thoughts that align with that, like, I'm wealthy now, your 3D is going to show you exactly what you are assuming all of the time. Every single time. There is nobody that is immune to the law of assumption. Nobody. All you have to do is repeat a new thought and take the aligned action that goes with it. That's it. And the most amazing part of that is that the action becomes natural because the identity has been installed, and therefore the action just feels normal, it feels natural, it doesn't feel like a struggle. You're not going against the grain, you're not fighting against your old identity anymore. This is why it's so important to start with identity first when you want to change anything in your 3D. When I set my vision, I was given the intuitive guidance to start a YouTube channel. That was my aligned action that I was shown, this is what you need to do. Did it make logical sense? Absolutely not. No, it takes so much longer, it's so much more effort to do a YouTube channel than it is to just do a podcast. This is not a strategic move. This is something that I am doing because intuitively I know that's part of the unfolding of my desired reality. I didn't know how to edit videos. I didn't know how to use sounds. I didn't know how to create thumbnails. I still don't know how to do any of the SEO side of things, but that's all right because I'm learning on the job. The action that I'm taking is messy, but I also know if I repeat that action, if I continue to create YouTube videos, they're going to be of the same quality of the YouTube videos that I watch now and think, wow, that's amazing. They are so good at YouTubing. It's not because they're better than me, and it's not because anybody's better than you. It's because they have repeated the same thing over and over again. Just like if you went into the gym, you could lift really heavy weights, you could run on the treadmill for 4 hours straight, you wouldn't see any difference. But if you went in and did a little bit in the gym every single day, you would see the difference because it's the repetition that creates the change. And it can be so tempting to keep looking for different things, like to be constantly thinking, oh, I need to try this, I need to try that, this isn't what, I've done it once and it didn't work, so I'm going to go to that thing. And I have definitely been guilty of this on so many occasions. We're always looking for this like shortcut to success, when actually if we just choose the thing that we love to do and repeat that, the success will come. And again, success doesn't have to be about money, about followers, about fame. It doesn't have to be related to that in any way. This can be about your health, about your relationships, about your family, about the environment that you live in, absolutely anything. I know this is a very controversial name to mention at the minute, but regardless of what you think of his politics, this is nothing to do with that. A person who really mastered this skill of repetition and becoming a master at something was Charlie Kirk. And I'm not talking about in his career, although he was very, very good at debating. I'm talking about in his relationships, because something that he did every single week without fail, the same thing over and over again, was to write a letter to his wife asking how he could be a better husband to her. And that nurtured his relationship so well that they had a very, very strong marriage. And you see mastery everywhere in everyday life. It doesn't have to be this super big thing. It can be becoming a master in the job that you have. Even if your job isn't a particularly skilled one, it can be being the very, very best version of you in that job. It can be being the very best parent that you can be. It can be being the very best daughter or family member that you can be. You can become a master at anything. While I was writing my podcast notes for this, I was sat at my favourite place, which is called Rivington Barn. I'm there all the time. And there was a guy there who I have known since he was 16, because we used to work together at the barn. His name's Matt. Shout out to Matt if he's watching. But he is an absolute master at what he does there. So Rivington Barn is like a cafe, and it's very, very busy. And there's lots of people coming in all the time. They serve food, they serve drinks. There's an inside, there's an outside. And Matt manages to make sure that every single person, every customer that walks through the door feels very welcomed, very at home. All of the food is fantastic. The service is amazing. And that is because he has become a master at what he does, and also lots of other people who work there. So this isn't about becoming a master of a particular skill. It's about becoming the very best version of you in that area of your life. And repetition is boring. It's not glamorous. It's not particularly exciting. It's boring. It's repetitive. But please do not fall into the trap of thinking, oh, well, I've tried this once and I wasn't very good. You know, if you feel really drawn to become an artist and you tried to draw a picture and then you were really disappointed with it because you thought, that looks absolutely shit, don't think that you're not meant to be an artist. If you've got that intuitive guidance, hone that skill, repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, and you will have no choice but to become a master at it. That's all it takes, is repetition and a willingness to fail and learn from that feedback to improve. Success is not reserved for those with a natural talent. Success is reserved for those with grit and a willingness to keep going. So I hope that you have found that episode useful. If you have, I will be super grateful for an Apple review or a comment or a subscribe or a like on this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I will speak to you very soon. See you later.